What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Twisted Twenties. This is a podcast dedicated to reminding you of your God given purpose through personal testimonies, trials, and personal revelations. I believe that each and every single one of us was created with a purpose, for a purpose, and it is up to us to align with it. I'm your host, T. Louise, and we are getting this ball rolling on is this season 5? Season 5 of Twisted Twenties? Y'all, don't quote me on that. I think it's season 5, but I'm not I'm not entirely sure. But I am so excited for where God has been taking this podcast. And there are certain things that He's been telling me to do. And I've been real hesitant with it. And so in this new season, I'm just looking to be more obedient to what the steps that God is giving to me. But today's episode, y'all, is exactly about that. Not holding myself back anymore and understanding that sometimes we are the problem. There's no one else for us to blame for why we are where we are in life. And just one announcement, you guys. Well, really two announcements, but I always say one because but anyway, first announcement, y'all. If you guys would love to be a co-host on Twisted Twenties, please email me a 1 to 2 minute video at submissions@twistedtwenties.org. And if you don't want to be a co-host, you can still send me an email giving me feedback, giving me subjects, anything you guys would love to hear from me, any ratings or feedback you guys have for me, you can also email me as well. Y'all, I'm so excited for this new season. I'm excited for the episodes that are going to come forth. But I know when I first started my podcast, y'all, in October of 2019, my first episode was entitled, I Am No Longer Holding Myself Back. So this is a part 2 to that because I'm definitely in a different space. I'm in a different place, and God has definitely transformed me since I made that first episode of 2019 saying that I'm no longer holding myself back. So with that being said, y'all, we are about to get into today's podcast episode. All right, y'all, welcome back to Twisted Twenties. Y'all, the title of this episode speaks for itself. Like, I am no longer holding myself back. I did an original episode of this when I first started my podcast back in 2019. It was the first ever episode that I did, and it was entitled, I Am No Longer Holding Myself Back. And I felt like I had to do a part 2 because I'm definitely in a different space now. I don't know what it is. Like, ever since I turned 25, like, I have a newfound confidence. I have new courage. I have a new mindset. I have this new energy to go after the things that God has, told me I need to do. And, God has really just been giving me a lot of self-revelations. So this episode today will be about a lot of self-revelations, but I will also be giving y'all a lot of encouragement at the same time. One of the self-revelations that God gave to me was probably about a week ago. I think it was about a week ago. I was just like struggling. I was like, God, like, I don't know if I'm ready for what you're asking me to do. And I didn't even understand that that's really why I had been holding myself back. And I will tell y'all exactly what I said to God. I said, God, I know that I haven't even began to touch the market audience that you need me to reach. And I said that I'm afraid that when I do reach that audience, that it will be too much responsibility, something that I'm not ready for. And so after I cried out to God and I said that to him, I, was using examples, and I was like, well, God, when I started this business, this is what happened. And God told me that this is not that. And then God directed me to, I think it's 2 Samuel. God had directed me to 2 Samuel. And I have the Jesus Bible, and I got it off of Amazon. And I like the Jesus Bible because it gives you like breakdowns of basically like what you're about to read. And then while you're reading, it will give you like these little like side paragraph things that you can read basically about like about what you just read. So when I first opened the chapter of Second Samuel, it talked about David inheriting a fractured kingdom after Saul died, basically. And it talked about how with God's direction that David would build, a successful kingdom, and he would do all these things, but only with the direction of God. And so I asked God, like, what is this about? Like, why are you having me to read Second Samuel? And God said to me, the same thing I did with David, I am doing for you. He told me that I am giving you are inheriting a fractured audience, but with my direction and my guidance, I will help you to help them to become the people that I need them to become. And when he said that to me, I was like, wow, like that is so powerful. But then he also told me, and I'm not going to share those things with y'all because it's just some things that I'm not going to share. I know I share a lot of things, but he also told me how, just like David, because David ended up losing things. Not only did he lose it, but he ruined it for his generation and his family. And so God also gave me direction on things that would ruin it for me. What type of things would ruin my inheritance, and things that I can't afford to do because it will basically forfeit my audience, my blessing, my purpose, things of that nature. And so I didn't even realize that I had been holding myself back. And when God told me that he was doing that and that he needed me to do that, I was like, man, like I've really been the problem the whole time. See, sometimes it's not other people. And I know we love to blame mommy and daddy. We love to put it on our childhood. We love to say, oh, it's trauma. It's trauma. I'm healing and all these things. But at some point in your life, you can no longer blame mommy and daddy. You can no longer blame your childhood. You can no longer blame anyone else but you. Because at a certain point, you have to take responsibility for your own healing. You have to take responsibility for your own actions. You've allowed yourself to stay stuck in a mental fog. You've allowed yourself to stay stuck in trauma for years after years after years after years, knowing you need some healing, knowing you need to forgive, knowing you need help, but you don't want to get help. So you are deliberately holding yourself back from what God is trying to do in your life. I hope that makes sense. Like, I'll give y'all another example. Before I started going to therapy, I was suppressing with marijuana. I was deliberately holding myself back. Even after God told me, I need you to stop smoking. He had told me, I need you to stop smoking. You cannot hear me. I'm trying to elevate you. I was high all day. I could not hear God. I could not hear direction. I could not get discernment. I could not hear what my next steps were. And I was deliberately holding myself back because I didn't want to go to trauma therapy. I didn't want to talk about what happened with my mom. I didn't want to talk about losing my dad. I didn't want to talk about any of those things. So instead of actually going to God and talking to him about it, I would just suppress with marijuana. And see, when we do things deliberately and holding ourselves back, we're only holding ourselves back. We are not, people don't understand this. It's like, I hear people say all the time, oh, I'm just trying to make it, honey. Or, I'm trying. Are you though? Like, are you really trying? I just had a conversation with my friend Sade, and I hope she doesn't mind me sharing this. If she's listening, I'm sorry, girl. I had to use this as an example on the podcast, okay? We were literally just having a conversation about this. And she works for a certain company. I'm not going to even tell y'all who she worked for. But she works for a certain company, and she wants to quit. And Sade really wants to pursue her dreams, her goals. And her parent wanted her to go back to school to get, I think, her master's. And she was like, that's not what I want to do. I want to do what I love to do. She loves fashion. She loves modeling, makeup. Like, she loves all those things. And I told her, I said, sometimes we have to face the hard truth of, are we doing enough? Am I doing all that I possibly can to get to where I want to be? We will go in 50% for ourselves, but when it comes to someone else, we going 150, 200%. But when it comes to ourselves, we only giving ourselves 50. I am guilty of this. And it got to a point for me, it's like I literally just over the weekend was crying to God. Just literally, I'm crying to him as I'm doing a job that is, I'm barely making ends meet. I'm crying as I'm literally doing it. I'm crying to God, and I said, God, something has to change. I cannot keep doing this. I cannot keep chasing this little money. I'm tired of lack. I'm tired of not being able to have enough. I'm tired. And I had to do a self-evaluation, and I said, man, like, am I doing enough? Like, it's at this point, it's not enough for me to just do my podcast every week consistently. God had already given me next steps. He gave it to me months ago. He said, I need you to start making video content. He also told me, I need you to send your video in to Sarah Jake Roberts to be a co-host on her podcast. That's going to help you reach another part of your audience I need you to reach. I have yet to do any of that. I made 2 videos, put it on TikTok, and that was it. I got tired after doing that. I got lazy. I got burned out. And see, people think, oh, well, you know, I'm trying. No, you're not. You're not trying. You're lazy. You're inconsistent. You don't have a plan. You're lazy once again. And it's like, I have listened to enough TED Talks. I've listened to enough motivational talks to know that you have to have a certain type of drive, a certain type of mindset to reach your goals. You are moving in stagnation. And I'm not just talking to y'all, like I'm talking to myself too, because excuse me, if you are not moving in stagnation, if you are going 150%, 110% for yourself, this is not for you. But this is for the people who have a dream, who have a goal, who have visions for their life, who have plans, who God has already given assignments to, has given direction to, and you have still not done it. You are holding yourself back. And not only this, I have said this on my podcast before. Our purpose is always connected to someone else. Our purpose is connected to the next person. The next person is connected to the next person. You are not only holding yourself back, but you are holding everybody else up that God is trying to connect you to, who he is trying to help through you. And that was like a hard lesson. I have had to learn that lesson so many times. Like at this point, it is ridiculous how many times I have had to learn this lesson. It is like taking the same test all over again on a different platform. Same teacher, same test, different platform. I done took the bubble sheet test. I done took it online. I done took it open book test. Like same test. I'm just taking the same test in different ways. I'm tired. I'm putting emphasis on tired. I'm not tired. I'm tired. I hadn't been to the library in 3 weeks, and I told Babe this morning, I said, I'm going to the library today. I'm not going to do no work today. I'm going to the library. I have goals that I need to reach. I have visions that I need to reach. The money will come. The money will come. But I can't keep putting what God has told me to do on the back burner. God told me months ago, make video content. God said, you see what I'm doing with Twisted 20s and you are not even putting out video content. Imagine what I could do if you put yourself out more. That's only step 2. Who knows? I probably would be on step 4 or 5 by now. I think he gave me step 2 like 2 or 3 months ago. And I didn't do it because of what I just told y'all in the beginning. I was afraid that when I do tap into the audience that God needs me to tap into, that I would not be ready for the responsibility. My pastor said something at church that really resonated with me. He said that maturity is not about age. Maturity is about responsibility. Maturity is about responsibility. And when he said that, it clicked for me. I had another revelation. And I said, wow, I've been immature with the responsibility that God has been trying to give me. Because I have not been mature. I have not wanted to take on the responsibility. And I've just been having confirmation after confirmation. You are ready. The only person that is holding themselves back is you. There is things that God, people can tell you all the time, like, even my therapist, like, no disrespect to her. I love her. But, it's like some stuff she say to me, I'm just like, no, like, God told me to do this, but I know that I'm holding myself back. Sometimes people will tell you, well, God will let you know when you're ready. And, when God tells you something, he doesn't necessarily mean right now. And I agree with that. But I will tell you this. When God gives you direction and you don't do it, and then you feel real stagnant, you feel at a standstill, sometimes, because I'm not going to say all the time because I don't know. Your situation is different from mine. But I know from me, in my experience, what I've learned so far is that when God gives me direction and I don't do it, my life will always come at a standstill. I will always feel stagnant. I will always feel like I'm not moving. I will always feel uncomfortable. And I will get to a place where I feel tired. And then I will move. And I'm tired of getting to a place where I have to be tired before I move and be obedient to what God has been telling me to do. I cannot get to that place every single time and then decide that, okay, now I'm going to be obedient. I have to be obedient when God gives me a word. My spiritual mom, I call her Auntie Yele. She told me, she said, you have to do it even if you are fearful. You have to do it even if you have doubt. You have to do it even if you do not believe. You still have to do it. You have to do the work. I've said this before. Pastor Chandler has said this, and I quote it all the time. God's people make money when they make moves. We are so busy out here trying to chase the bag. We are so busy out here trying to pay our bills. We are so busy trying to do all these things. Yes, we have to pay our bills. Yes, we have to keep a roof over our head. But that does not mean because you have to do all of these things that you get to neglect what God has told you to do. You do not get to neglect your assignment or your purpose. And a lot of us are doing that. A lot of us, well, I'm tired from work. It don't matter. I had to have this same conversation with Babe. I'm like, God placed you at a job where you have more time to focus on what he needs you to focus on. What are you doing to get there? What are you doing to learn your new skill? What are you doing to get to where God is trying to take you? What steps are you taking? And the hard truth is, we are not doing enough. You're not doing enough. You're going 50%. And some of y'all are only giving 5%. You think you made one post out of the whole month. Oh, I'm tired, honey. I'm doing something. No, you're not doing nothing. You ain't doing nothing. You made one post. Get busy. Post every day. Post consistently every day for 6 months. And like I said, I'm not just talking to y'all. I'm talking to me too. Because I sure took a break from my Instagram page. But that's why I'm going to the library today, because I have some things I need to get in order. I have some things that I need to start planning, because God has already given me my next step. And so now, in order for me to do the next step, I have to come up with a plan. And not just any plan, a strategic plan. And that's why I'm spending time at the library today. I love going to the library. Stop working at home. Go to the library. Get out of your comfort zone, because see, you at home, you got your bed, you got the kitchen, you got TV, you got your video games. You have all these distractions. Go to the library. Find you somewhere where you can literally focus in on what you need to focus in on. It will change your, I'm telling you. When I was going to the library, I used to go to the library every single day. I was going to the library, making content. I was working on Twisted Twenties. I was working on my screenwriting. I was doing all these things when I was going to the library. I haven't been to the library in, I think, maybe a month at this point. I have done nothing. Just been working and stressing. And that's why I said today I'm going to the library. Today I need to take time for myself and my purpose. Some of y'all may not work every day. On those days off, you need to be focusing in on what you want to focus in on. You have a purpose, but you are deliberately holding yourself back because you are being lazy. You are being inconsistent. You don't believe in yourself. God is literally trying to restore, resurrect, and bring back to life the dreams, the visions, the ideas that you have for your life. But you have to do your part too. And I don't know how this episode got to this, because this was not supposed to lead this way. But this is the way that God wanted it to go. I have one prayer for you today. One prayer, and that prayer is, God, reveal to me how I have deliberately been holding myself back. God, reveal to me how I have deliberately been holding myself back. That is your prayer. And then actually, I have a second prayer. God, reveal to me what my next step is. Because now that you understand how you have been deliberately holding yourself back, now you need to know what your next step is. How do you move out of this place of holding yourself back? What steps do I need to take to get out of this? I'm telling y'all, it's time. It is time. I'm tired of lacking. I'm tired of struggling. I'm tired. I'm tired. Something has to change. And when we get to a point where we're like, something has to change, most times it's us that has to change. We have to change our mindset. We have to change our drive. We have to change how we are looking, our perspective of our life, our perspective of our business, our perspective of what we are doing. We have to change how we are going in and showing up for our purpose, showing up for our businesses. We have to change it. We have to change it. I'm going to say those prayers one more time. The first prayer is, God, reveal to me how I have deliberately been holding myself back. And then prayer number 2 is, God, reveal to me what my next step is. Y'all can pray those. Y'all can write them in the prayer journal. I love writing my prayer journal because that's where God talks to me a lot of times. He will say, hey, write this down. And I love it because I can always go back and I can read it. I can read what God said, and I will put the date. I probably will start putting the time as well, but I will always put the date that God said this. I actually just started doing that. And Babe's mom, she got me a gift this weekend that's going to help me to take my content to another level. So now I have no excuse. I can't tell God, oh God, I don't have no space on my computer. I don't have no space on my phone to record videos. I ain't got no excuses no more. No more. Some of us could be having 10,000 excuses for why we ain't done something. And some of it, and the real reason is we be lazy. We inconsistent. We don't believe in ourselves. We don't believe that we can make it. We don't believe that we will be successful. But we be coming up with excuses like, oh, I had to work. I'm tired. Are you really tired? Because if you was tired, you would be trying to do something so that you would get out of this space of being tired. So that's all I got to say today. I want y'all to stay tuned for this month's episodes, because this month's episodes are going to be some look in the mirror type of episodes. Next week's episode is hard truths. Hard truths. Look in the mirror. You are the problem. No one else. You are the problem. I love y'all. I hope y'all enjoyed this episode. If you guys would love to be a co-host on Twisted Twenties, please send me a 1 to 2 minute video at submissions@twistedtwenties.org. And you can also send me reviews, questions, episode topics. You guys can send all that to the same email as well. I love you guys so much. I thank you guys for enjoying this episode. Thank you for listening to Twisted 20s every single Monday. And I love each and every single one of you guys. Peace, love, and blessings. T. Louise.